Wake up, Tenno.
Hey there, Tenno. Ever wanted an extremely violent and sadistic mutant to harass you and steal all your stuff? No? How about a cultist that can't decide whether they're infatuated or infuriated to rob you of all your hard-earned credits? Still no? How about if they show up sometimes and revive you when you go down in a mission? Fight off Railjack boarding parties? Okay. How about instead, you can run your Parazon through them and take their fancy weapons and ephemeris? Okay, now you're listening. And a Lich or Sister of Parvos might be just what you need. So first off, let's clear this up that Liches and Sisters are mechanically the same kind of system and function almost identically. The primary difference is in the weapons and ephemeras they can have, and the planets and tile sets you will operate in during the course of chasing them across the star chart. Liches will always be in Granum maps, Sisters in Corpus maps, and you can mod your weapons accordingly should you so choose. We also need to talk about prep work. How much of it you do ahead of time and how much you do as you find you need it is going to be up to you. Everybody has their preferences. There are also some prerequisite quests that must be completed in order to have each system available. For Liches, you must have completed the War Within and own a Railjack. For Sisters of Parvos, you must have completed the War Within, Call of the Tempestari, and obviously also own a Railjack. You also need at least one rank 5 Railjack intrinsic in order to start the final mission. You can only have one Lich or Sister at a time. So if you already have one of them, you cannot spawn another one of either type. In order to fully take down a Lich or Sister, you will also need Requiem mods. These are attained either by collecting Requiem relics through Kuva Siphon missions found in the Alerts tab of your navigation menu and cracking them in a Requiem fissure found with the rest of the Void fissures in your nav menu, or by purchasing them off other players. There are a total of 9 mods, including OULL, the wildcard. If you're just starting your Lich journey and have none of these, it can't hurt you to farm and crack some relics to get some mods. If you have the plat, buy an OULL, as those do not come from Requiem relics, but instead have a 25% chance to drop when you send your Lich or Sister to Railjack, which we'll talk about in a bit. An OULL will significantly shorten the time it takes to do a Lich or Sister from start to finish, and after your first couple of these, you will always want to use one when hunting it. Generally, you can find an OULL for less than 20 plat from someone. And each Requiem mod, including OULL, can be used to send a Lich or Sister to the Railjack 3 times total before it's expended. But wait, there's more. Before we move on, you also need to decide on what kind of elemental damage you would like on your Kuva or Tenet weapon. This is what will determine what frames you can use to spawn your Lich or Sister, and this is known as the Progenitor bonus. The full list can easily be Googled, or you can screenshot this list that I'm putting on screen right now. Note that this list is only base frames, and prime frames hold the same Progenitor bonus. You can use Mesa or Mesa Prime, for example, and both would spawn a Lich with a magnetic elemental bonus. If you have no idea what type of bonus you want and just want to go fight your Lich, the general rule of thumb is that Toxin and Fire are the go-to choices at the time this video was made, with magnetic or radiation used for some specific circumstances like Prophet Taker or priming weapons. Okay, so you've got your Requiem mods, you've got your Progenitor frame all ready to go. But merch, you cry. How do I get a Lich to come steal all my crap? Well, let's take a look at that right now, starting with Liches. To spawn a Lich, we want to come to Saturn, to this capture mission here called Cassini. Now, there are other places a larvaling can show up, yes. Most any Granum map once you've completed the prerequisite quests, but we don't care about those. Go here. It's faster, more consistent. You've already got Stab Happy somewhere and accidentally spawned yourself a Lich. You want the info at here in this video, but you should probably watch the whole thing so you know how to do it on purpose next time. Also, while you're looking down there, timestamps and how long this video is, do me a favor and click that like and subscribe button there so you can get notified whenever I upload more Warframe content like this one. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, Saturn capture mission here. Extremely complicated thing you need to do here is the mission. Yeah, just run in here, put fist in face, and capture the target. That's first. A few seconds after you capture the target, you'll see the lights flicker, like this, and that's your cue to tear through every red spot on the radar between you and extraction as fast as possible. There's technically a specific number of kills and a specific time that you need to get, but it's very low, so just run through killing everything without stopping to loot or scan collectibles, and you'll have no issues. After you've been killing for a few seconds, a Kuva Guardian will start talking with some dialogue about a Kuva Lich, and a red marker will appear. That's your larvaling. Go pop this thing in the face, and it will kneel down and wait for you to mercy it. Before you do, however, walk up to it, see what it has. If you walk up but do not mercy it, you can see what type of weapon it has. This is the weapon your Lich will spawn with if you mercy this larvaling. If you want that one, hit X and mercy. Remember that this elemental bonus will be based on the frame you're currently on. If you do not want that bonus on that weapon, then leave it there and run along to extraction and do it all again. But March, I've done this 4 times, and it's given me a Kuva Carrick every time. I know, Tenno. It sucks. There's supposed to be a system in place, forcibly rotates through weapons you've chosen not to spawn, but at the time of this video, that system is bugged and doesn't work correctly. Just keep going. It may take a hot minute, but eventually the weapon you want will show up. So that's how we spawn a Kuva Lich. But what about a sister? Well, sisters are a little more cumbersome. Same thing applies with the Progenitor, be on the frame you want, the elemental bonus you want, but you also need to be ready to actually fight a little harder on this one. Again, there are many places you can do this, but we're going to go to Hydra on Pluto because it's an easy capture mission, and we're going to do the mission and go into the top level Granum Void. You will need a Zenith Granum Crown for this. So with this one, when you spawn in, look at where your capture target is. It's more than 200 meters away. Go after the target after you finish the Granum Void. If it's less than, say, 200 meters, you can generally go ahead and go to the capture target first and then come back and look for the Granum Void entrance. Whichever order you're spawned with, what you're looking for to enter the void are these golden hands. Most of the time when the map spawns, there's like 20 of them throughout, but there are occasions where it's only 1 or 2 and they're well hidden. Generally, if I don't see one between me and the target, I just abort my mission and try again rather than waste a bunch of time trying to find one lone hidden hand. When you find the hand, you may have to clear some enemies out or won't let you enter. Make sure you have full energy and ammo, drop whatever squad restores you need, and use a Zenith Crown to open up the void by accessing the control panel. Once inside the void, a bunch of these floating errant specters will start spawning in. You have to reach rank 1 rewards to spawn a sister candidate. That means 25 kills per player. So if you go in here alone, you have to get 25. If you go in here with one other person, the group has to get 50. 3 people in the group need 75, etc. You have 1 minute to get these kills, then it kicks everyone out of the void. You'll see triangles drop that add time to the counter, and there are whole methodologies for you can go into Granum Void, maxing out in there to get Protea drops, but for our purposes, we only care about getting the first tier of rewards. Once you've reached your number and been kicked out of the void, head towards the extraction or the capture target if you haven't already got that, and as you go, similar to with the larvaling, a transmission will come across announcing the arrival of a candidate, and a red marker will appear. Same thing as with the larvaling, hightail it to the marker, down it, go up and see what weapon it has. If you want it, mercy it, and if you don't, go to extraction. Again, remember the weapon will come with the element based on the warframe you're in at the time you stabbed the candidate. Okay, now we've got our Lich or sister spawned, so now what? Well, if you look at your navigation menu, you'll see that they have taken over a planet. For Liches, the first one will always be Earth, and their influence will be in red. For sisters, it will be blue, and start on Venus. Anytime you do any mission on a node influenced by them, they will steal your stuff and talk your ear off. Liches will steal an almost insignificant number of random items, all types. Sisters will steal almost all of your credits you earned during the mission. But that's it. A note here is that while Liches steal an almost inconsequential number of each item, he can steal important things such as Archon shards, so be careful. If they stole yours, don't worry, you'll get everything they took back when you kill them. Annoying, but it's not the end of the world. I know, it's taking us forever to actually go shoot something. One last thing before we do that, you want to click on this little red or blue box in the bottom right next to Nightwave here. This is your Lich's page, or sisters if that's what you spawn. This will show us our Lich or sister, what weapon they have, what amount and kind of bonus, and give us their name. We can also see if they have an ephemera or not. Trust me, it's generally pretty obvious. Over here to the right, we can track our Parazon stab attempts, which will essentially be playing Wordle with the Requiem mods here in a little bit. Below that, you have these 3 circular meters. These are your murmur gauges. And once one fills, it will reveal a Requiem. Fancy way of saying that once it fills up, it'll tell you one of the mods you'll need in your Parazon. You can also track these attempts from your arsenal by using the upgrade option on your Parazon itself. Most important for us is we want to remember their name, so we know when they have spawned into the mission we are in. After we have their name down, we're going to back out of this. Now, generally speaking, it's best to do this on public grouping. More people means more chance of minions and chances of someone else's Lich showing up and bringing additional minions, so it makes it all go faster. Public can also mean, however, that you will wind up with folks who don't understand the mechanics and blitz through the mission so fast that only one minion is spawned. So you may find you enjoy one method over the other. As always, bringing a pre-made group is going to be the ideal situation. So to start this hunt, we're going to start beating missions on nodes influenced by our Lich or sister, starting with Earth for Liches, Venus for the Sisters of Parvos. I tend to do the fast ones like captures and exterminates first, and save the longer ones or annoying mission types. Each time you go in these missions, there will be a higher level version of the original mission type for that node, and they will have the added component that the Lich or Sister's minions will spawn every couple of minutes with a full-on sound effect entrance and a red marker. For Liches, they will be Grineer unit, kind of translucent purple glow on them. For Sisters, it will be a robot hound. When they spawn, we want to take down the minion, then mercy it. This will give us what the game calls murmur and fills up part of our meter. This is the same meter from a minute ago on the Lich page. Once we mercy enough of these to fill up one of the meters, our first Requiem will be revealed. Merch, you say. This is going to be so easy. Stab, stab, mod, stab, win. Oh, my silly Tenno. If only. Now that we have the first Requiem mod we need, we begin the main part of the Lich or Sister, which is determining the order of the mods that get revealed to us. The Murmur will reveal what the mods are, but not what order they're in. So how do we do that, you ask? Well, here is where there is a split. By all means, please watch all of this video, but if you have an OULL mod, you can skip to here for the methodology using that. If not, we will go over what to do if we do not have an OULL mod first. So first, let's look at this if we do not have the luxury of an OULL. We've already learned our first Requiem mod, so we're going back here to our arsenal and open up our Parazon using the upgrade option, hitting the appropriate button on console while mousing over it. If this is your first time opening it after unlocking Liches, you may notice you now have 3 additional mod slots above your initial 3. The rest of this video, we're going to refer to these by their slot numbers, 1, 2, and 3. If I say to move 2 to 3, you want to take whatever is currently in slot 2 and move it to slot 3. Easy. If you look over here to the left, it keeps track of your attempts, which we'll talk more about in a minute, and it also shows your current Requiem stats. So here we will see the ones we have unlocked and any progress towards our next one. We know our current Requiem, so we can go ahead and put it in slot 1. And we're going to absolutely guess on 2 and 3, because we always want to stab a Lich as many times as we can every time we stab it. If we only have the one we know in there, we are guaranteed to only get 1 successful stab. But if we guess the other 2, we have a 1 in 7 chance of getting the second right if we got the first one right, since the second one can't be the same as the first one. So why wouldn't we wait until we have all our Requiems learned? Well, because then we'd be wasting our time. After your Lich is stabbed, they move on to the next planet and reset their anger meter. meaning you're going to most likely need to do several missions before they are angry enough to show up again. And in those missions, you're going to be gaining Requiem. In this method, you will more often than not learn your Requiem on each planet well before your Lich shows up the first time. Just remember through all of this, only stab your Lich when you are ready. Do not reload next to it, dance a jig with it, nor even really go near it if you aren't ready to stab it. There are quite a few issues that can cause your character to stab if you are close enough, even if you aren't ready. So just stay out of mercy distance and save yourself the trouble. Anyway, now we've loaded up our Parazon. Back on the first planet, we want our Lich to show up. I tend to have the best luck in defense missions, but reality is that's just in my head and there's nothing programmed that makes that a thing. Allegedly. Eventually, your sister or Lich will appear in your mission. When they do, your job is pretty simple. Shoot them until they lose their first health bar, then run up to them and use your mercy kill on them. If the first stab is correct, you'll stand back up and keep fighting. Rinse and repeat, knocking down health bars and stabbing until the result shows up in red, slash through it to tell you that mod spot was incorrect. Here's where we'll go look at our flowchart again. Keep following the green arrows for yes, each stab that worked, and then if the stab was the one that was incorrect, we'll follow the red no. I mean, it's a flowchart. Hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. So whichever stab failed, we'll follow the red path to our instructions of what to do. The flowchart is here to give you the walkthroughs, but chances are that after you've done a few of these, you'll have the concepts down and leave the chart to waste away with the photos of random crap you saw at the store and took a photo of so you remember then forgot about in your 1,300 photos on your phone. What? Just me? Yeah, okay. Anyway, where were we? Swapping our mods around on our Parazon. Whatever one failed, immediately go change your Parazon when you get back to your orbiter. Routinely doing it as soon as you get back will help prevent accidentally stabbing your Lich with the same mod order twice. So once we've changed our order according to the chart, we're off to the next planet, where we'll be doing the same thing. Do missions on Mars or Phobos until we get our second known Requiem. Then put this new known Requiem into the blank spot on our Parazon, whatever that may be. If you see the big pink bubble on the chart though, do note that if you got lucky and your first two mods correct in the order, and now only need the third mod, you should be doing every mission on Mars until you learn the Requiem you do not know, which may be the next Requiem you learn, or it may be the last one you learn. Either way, do missions just in order until you get the one you don't know and put that in your Parazon, and stab your Lich on whatever planet you're on at that time, then you're onto the Railjack phase. So assuming that we did not get super lucky, once we have our second Requiem known, get into our Parazon in the right place, we're going to keep clearing on Mars or Phobos until our Lich shows up again and go through the process again of downing it and stabbing it until we fail at our guess. Once we fail, we're going to come back to our orbiter and once again go to our Parazon and adjust it based on what has failed and what we know. The flowchart will tell you exactly what to do, and you can also look up here to see the results of your previous attempts to make sure you're on the right path. Once we've adjusted our Parazon and either lucked out or failed, you should notice on the chart that everything starts condensing. At this point, 3 of our 5 remaining options leave us knowing what our order is. We don't know what our third Requiem is, but we know exactly where it goes on our Parazon. Our other 2 options, we should at least know what belongs in slot number 1. Even if we don't know what the Requiem mod is yet, you're finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So on to Ceres or Jupiter, our third planets. And yet again, we're going to beat missions and mercy underlings until we learn our final Requiem mod, then put that in the open slot in our Parazon and continue angering our Lich until it shows up and we get to go through the process of stabbing it all over again. At this point, we either know the order, and stabbing it is going to send it to the Railjack as a rank 3 Lich, or everything is hinged on whether your second and third slots are in the right order. If you finally got your first slot locked in and your second slot is wrong, then obviously we know we can just swap 2 and 3 in our Parazon for the final stab. Fortunately, that means we have to go to Sedna or Neptune, and as a result, it will be a rank 4 Lich or Sister. You can now jump ahead to here, since you're on the Railjack, stopping to hit the menagerie of like, subscribe, and bell buttons on your way. Or you can go through how to do this with an OULL mod with me. So here we go. If you went through all of that with me, or you skipped here from earlier, now we're going to look at how to do this with an OULL mod. Remember, you have a 25% chance to get an OULL when you stab your Lich or sister the final time and send them off to the Railjack. Or you can trade another player for one. So first, we're going to go open up our Parazon in the arsenal by using the upgrade option or hitting the appropriate button on console. Here we are going to call these slots 1, 2, and 3. And refer to them as that for the rest of the video. So if the flowchart or myself says to move 2 to 3, you'll take whatever you currently have in slot 2 and put it in 3. Easy enough. So since we have an OULL, we're going to load the OULL into slot 1 and our first known Requiem into 2. This greatly increases our chances of getting lower ranked Liches, as the OULL is a wild card that guarantees our first slot will be right. And we're already trying to figure out slot 2. In slot 3 here, we're going to take a shot in the dark guess, but we have a 1 in 7 chance of it being right, so we might as well. So if you skip to this section, you may be wondering why we aren't waiting until we have several or all of the Requiems learned, and it's because of efficiency. After your Lich is stabbed, move on to the next planet and reset their anger meter. You're going to have to do several missions before they get angry enough to show up again, all the while you're gaining more murmur and filling up another Requiem gauge. Using this method, you will far more often than not learn your Requiem on each planet well before your Lich shows up the first time there. Just remember, only stab your Lich when you are ready. Do not reload next to it, attempt to play patty cake with it, or generally go anywhere near it if you aren't ready to stab it. There are too many issues that can cause your character to stab if you are close enough, even if you aren't ready. So just stay out of mercy distance and save yourself the trouble. So now we're loaded up with OULL, our known Requiem, and our prayer to RNGesus, and we're going to go finish mercy killing our way across Earth or Venus until our Lich or sister gets fed up with us and shows up. When they do, then let them have it until the first health bar is gone, and then we're finally going to go mercy stab them. OULL is guaranteed to be right. We'll stand back up, we're going to knock them down once more and stab them again. We're going to keep repeating this process of beating them down and stabbing them until our stab fails, and we see the symbol in red with a strike through it that tells us we done messed up. Once we're done, we'll click the board. Back in our orbiter, we're going to go open our Parazon and take stock. The result of our last attempt will be on the left side here. Whatever we see, that red strike, we're going to look at the flowchart and see what we're supposed to do. I promise, do these a few times, and you'll more than grasp the concepts, and you won't need the flowchart. But for now, we're going to go over it. Whichever one failed, we're going to follow the red line out to the instructions of what to move to where and what to leave empty. Once we've got that set, it's off to Mars or Phobos to go do missions and mercy underlings until we learn our second Requiem. And we're going to put that Requiem in the empty spot in our Parazon. Once we're loaded up again, we're going to tear our way across our second planet with gusto until we again hack off our Lich or sister enough for them to show up, and we're going to again slap off their shield and health bar and stab them until we fail or send them to the Railjack. Whichever one failed, come back to our orbiter, open our Parazon, our flowchart, and see where we're at. Following the red lines off to see what we change, unless of course you got all 3 stabs right, in which case we'll see you on the Railjack here in a minute. For the rest of us, we now know what the mod in 2 should be. So we're making a 50-50 shot at what order our other 2 are in. We're going to do missions until our Lich or sister gets angry and shows up. And we're going to go through the routine until we fail or it gets sent to the Railjack. If it fails, unfortunately we have to go do missions on Sedna or Neptune to anger it, show up again, and get our final stab and a rank 4 Lich. So we finally got our Lich or sister to the Railjack. Now what? Well, thankfully, the first part of this is just like any other Railjack skirmish mission. Blow up some cruise ships, shoot down some fighters, and you'll need to blow up 2 security nodes, and you're golden. However, you've gotten through all your other Railjack missions, do the same thing here. Once you've completed the first set of objectives, you'll board the galleon that your Lich or sister is on. If you're doing a Lich, from this point, you simply go to the marker, shoot them in the face until they're down. If you have a Sister, the only difference is that in the same room with the Sister, you will first need to down 2 Warframe Spectres before the Sister becomes vulnerable. Once you've done all that, take down your target, and you'll be given 2 options and corresponding buttons to either vanquish or capture your Lich. If you want the weapon, you'll have to vanquish it by holding D on the PC or right on the D-pad on console. If you want to capture the Sister, you can either trade it, use it aboard your Railjack, for example. You want to capture it using left on the D-pad on console or A on PC. And there we go. You successfully downed your adversary. And now it's back to the Railjack and back to the Dry Dock to close it all out. If you're lucky, you'll get a Requiem Ultimatum as a quest reward. Those can help you by instantly summoning your Lich during your next Lich hunt, so you don't have to anger it during a bunch of missions. When you first come back to your Orbiter after all of this, you'll get a mail in your inbox containing any ephemeras that you may have got, and letting you know if any weapons or companions are received. If you vanquished your Sister or Lich, your weapon, in Sister's case your Hound Companion, will all be inside your foundry, fully built and ready to claim, but you will need companion and weapon slots for them. And that's it. Congratulations, you've completed your Lich. Even more impressive, you've stuck with me throughout this really long video. If it helped you out, please help me out by dropping a like, subscribe, and ringing that weird little bell down there so you can get a heads up to come check out my next one. That's it for now. Happy hunting, Tenno.